Well, it's about time we go over to Coronado Springs and take a look at what they've done. Really, since November, the only thing we've done is drive by and see the construction from the roadway. I mean, it's not like you can't tell a lot about what's getting done from the roadway. I mean, you can see it all the way back from Victory Way, across World Drive, and even at Western Way. It just dominates the skyline. But we decided to take a look and see what's happening, and the first thing you notice is there's no security booth anymore. You actually have to read the signs to figure out where you're going now. No, it looks like they've actually traded in their themed security booth for what we can only deem as a double-wide phone booth. But security does tell me that it does have a microwave, and that it's really only temporary. Now, all that construction they've been doing on the parking lot up by registration, which was pretty much almost done when we went and visited back in November, well, that's all completed, and that parking area is now wide open to the public. I really can't wait to see what the new layout for the entrance is going to be, because that canopy sitting right there kind of sticks out close to the roadway, a lot closer than you'd think it would. And the other thing you notice from the front is it looks like most of the decorative tile work is done. You can see it here close up, but the details on the front are nothing compared to the details you'll see when we look at the back of the building. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's start back at the beginning. When we first started watching the construction back in April, you could see clear through the building. By August, we were pretty much able to tell what the siding layers looked like anyway. Now in February, it looks like they've sheathed the whole building with the exception of where those construction elevators were. I'm sure you remember those exterior elevators, which pretty much was the only way I could tell what floor was which, because the elevator said so. Although it appears rather subdued in Disney's concept art, the decorative metalwork that's on the front of the building looks like it dominates the entire structure. At this point, the metalworkers were still finishing up the last piece on the top, and maybe it'll look different after the building is completed. And I hope it's going to look just as cool as it looks in this other piece of Disney concept art. Back when we first visited, they hadn't finished the top floors yet, and the elevators on the side only ran up to the 11th floor, so we weren't really sure how tall the building was actually going to be. Now, all the floors are visible, and it's really easy to tell what that rooftop restaurant's going to look like, too. But I guess I should just back off and give you an overview of what the building looks like now. You know, in February. Another area where we're finally starting to see some progress is the lobby. Back in April, it was just a big arch in the wall. As August rolled around, we still didn't see much progress being done at the lobby. Now for me, I was kind of hoping they'd leave this big open space so you can see all the way through the building. However, by the time we got to November, they had already started to enclose it, although I still wasn't sure what they were doing with it. Now in February, we can finally see what the doorways are going to look like. Although I'm pretty sure there's going to be some kind of decorative tile work around the door frames. Oh yeah, and Disney has christened the entire thing the Grand Destino Tower, and the restaurant inside to be the Toledo Tapas Steaks and Seafood Restaurant. So, Toledo, I guess we're switching from a Mexican theme to a Spanish theme, unless they mean Ohio. I mean, anything's possible. Toledo, Ohio is home to Jeep and to the Toledo Mud Hens. But I'm willing to bet Disney's going with Spain. Another area of major construction is the newly named Three Bridges Bar and Grill, out in the middle of the lake. As you'll recall, when we first visited in April, the divers were still in the water, putting bolts through all the framework to make the first of the three bridges. Well, I'm happy to report that construction is complete on 2 of the 3 bridges, and they just really need to have the railings removed to open them up. Oh, and I guess for the restaurant to be completed too. Because, although I will admit, they have made a lot of progress since we first saw them in April, it looks like they still have quite a ways to go before the restaurant's ready to open this summer. Although, when you look at it from a different angle, you can see that there's already glass installed in part of it, so maybe this is all just the outside seating area. I mean, the stonework on the chimney appears to be done. And there's no more crates sitting around on the back with equipment in them waiting to be installed inside. They have completed everything except the concrete landing pad over on the sidewalk by the pool for the 3rd of the 3 bridges. And if you'll recall, back in November, They had actually just started working on it because they needed to keep that area in the back clear for the barges to be able to move back and forth. Seems like the last of the 3 bridges to be completed will be the one that connects the Casitas area to the restaurant, because they're still using that as a construction walkway and haven't even started to put the handrails up. As more and more of the construction fences come down and the barges leave the lakes because they're no longer needed, I can't wait for the restaurant to open. It really is the restaurant that I'm looking most forward to going to. Although maybe I'll be able to weasel out a couple of days at the new tower when it opens. In other Coronado Springs news, when we visited back in November, the dig site pool was closed for a major refurbishment. There were even construction workers inside the pool, so I knew it was a pretty major refurbishment. Well, I'm happy to report that the waterfall is flowing again, and the pool is back open. So let's head over to the main building for a couple of minutes. Really because I wanted to use some footage from my DJI Osmo Pocket. Inside of the main building, they had pretty much chopped the store in half by putting up a temporary wall. Well, that wall turned into a permanent wall that I forgot to get pictures of while I was there, but while talking to cast members, they said it's a break room back there, and they're not going to the new building. Nope, they tell me they're staying right where they are. And it kind of makes me wonder what's going to become of all the Huaxacan art that they have in there if they're switching over to a Spanish theme. Not to mention all the Dia de los Muertos things. Back outside, they were painting up the signs, getting ready to put all the new names up. You can already book your stay at the Grand Destino Tower for dates starting in July. And with 3 bridges opening July 9th, you might want to get your reservations in now, because the first dinner reservations I could find were on the 19th. So between now and then, we'll try and keep you up to date on all of the construction going on over on Coronado Springs and whether or not I was able to swing a couple of nights stay. And for those of you who've been keeping track, I have to admit, I don't think she's coming back.